Beijing, not only imposing reciprocal tariffs of its own on US goods, also halting the export of those valuable rare earths, which are critical for so many US high-tech industries.
China, the world's largest source of rare earths. Beijing began developing the lucrative mining industry in the 1980s. China now accounts for some 90% of global production. Most of its rare earths mines are located in the south of the country. Rare earths are used in making many high-tech products, including computer chips, electric vehicle batteries, medical equipment, and in the aerospace industry. The U.S. imports some 70% of its rare earths needs from China. Apple and Tesla are two companies that source Chinese rare earths in their supply chains. Yttrium is one of 7 minerals now subject to China's export stop to the U.S. It's used in consumer electronics, like in screens and LED displays. In addition to yttrium, the list drawn up by Beijing includes dysprosium, gadolinium, lutetium, samarium, scandium, and terbium. F-35 fighter jets are one of the U.S.-built systems that rely on rare earths imported from China. Advanced missile technology is another. U.S. rare earths expert Melissa Sanderson says China made that list strategically. They picked the things that are crucial for the U.S. economy. Until the trade dispute is resolved, the United States will be cut off from shipments of key rare earths from China.
So will it work? Well, let's ask Philip Andrews-Speed, who's a senior research fellow with the China Energy Research Programme at the Oxford Energy Institute for Research Studies. He joins us from Oxford. Welcome to DW. So the world's technology depends on these rare earths, which China controls so much of. How damaging for the US is a Chinese block on the export of 7 of these to them?
Well, good morning. As I read it, they haven't actually banned the exports yet. What they've done is put export controls on these rare earths, and this means that any company in China exporting has to get permission. So it'll be a few days before we see the exact extent of the application of these controls. And this is just the latest set of controls that China has put on different critical minerals. And also the export controls on the rare earths include also products made from rare earths, such as permanent magnets.
OK, so the threat is there. What happens if China turns the taps off?
Probably for the US, no immediate impact because they have strategic stocks. So this is something that will roll out slowly, and it'll be up to the government who manages the strategic stocks as to how they allocate them. Presumably defense will come first, and maybe cars and other things will be further down the line.
And who else could the US turn to for supplies of these materials?
Well, I think there are two things to recognize in China's dominance. Your commentator mentioned the 90% of supply, and that is the 90% of the refined products, the metals and chemicals from rare earths. China actually only produces about 70% of the ores. The ores are produced in other countries, such as the US, such as Brazil, Vietnam, and Myanmar, and Australia. But it's the processing that is key. And the world's been outside China, has been very slow to build up the capacity in the processing. The US has one coming on stream in California. Canada has a new one, Estonia, Malaysia also refine. But this is the problem. It's not so much the ores, it is the processing, which is an extremely sophisticated technology that the Chinese have mastered.
All right. The US, as I understand it, is China's biggest market for these rare earth minerals. Will it be easy for China to find alternative markets for them?
Well, I think much of the use of the rare earths is within China. But yes, there are other places that can use them. And again, I think what we've yet to see is this a ban on will there any ban be on all exports or just to the US? Because the trouble is, if you target one country, as the Chinese did back in 2011, they targeted Japan, but it means that the materials can just move around through other countries. So if they really want to stop stuff going to the US, then they have to stop all exports.
OK, thank you for that. Philip Andrew Speed from the Oxford Energy Institute for Research Studies.